You're listening to Holding Court, the podcast. I'm your host, Chris Zimmerman. This week, my dear friend, Joe Coppellotti is our guest. He's an audio wizard extraordinaire, comedian, actor, all-around good guy. Known him a while. He did the pleasure of editing this one up. Let's give it a listen, let's say. Wunderbar, buddy.
Wunderbar.
How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, my God.
You look great.
Oh.
You got a new shirt from a concert.
It's my one new shirt. I have one. I can
You're
make
fitting
one.
into a whole new scene.
Dude.
I looked at you and I was like, this guy shops at Hot Topic or
God
something.
damn it.
I don't know.
And
He's
dude,
from
I had
another side
nothing
of the
new.
mall.
Dude, there's holes in my shoes. Every week I have to re-super glue them back together.
You look considerably more grungy.
It's because of the black shirt. I own no black shirts. That's why I always stood out as like I don't belong
I don't
there.
think you ever wear black.
I never wear black.
Not even to a funeral.
No, never. I wear
Garish
bright colors.
Garish peacock
Oh, I have to
colors.
be the bride at every wedding, the corpse at every funeral.
Of course.
I'm the corpse. I'm the corpse bride. No, oh my God. I am so... Well, today I'm under power. I'm like a battery running on 2%. I went to the Sheer Mag show last night. I got the t-shirt here, and I got very, very, very drunk. I got very drunk, not at the show, but after. There's this man from Boston who's down visiting. He was like, well, I didn't know you lived in Boston. We should always hang out. And I guess I knew him in school, but I wasn't sure if I knew him at school. He kept buying shots, and he said, I'm in marketing. It's okay. I do this all the time. Have more shots.
Don't worry about it.
Have more shots. And I got very drunk. Not blackout. I don't black out. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with all the memories of sticking my head in the toilet and vomiting blood, which gave me panics. I had panics. I was checking my...
You don't black out. You
No,
remember
I didn't black
everything,
out.
And then...
I remember everything.
The
I
shame
remember
is complete.
a horrible ride, and then Cole this morning, my roommate, being like, "You had that look in your eye. You had that look in the eye you get," and it's just
the look
like,
of the devil.
oh,
The devil
God.
got hold. The
You
devil
look
took
like the
hold.
My Lai Massacre playing on your eyelids, son. Something's wrong. Something wrong. Ugh.
Oh, man.
Well, no, I mean, it wasn't like it was just like a bucket of blood that poured out of me. It was like a bowl. It was like a thing of Gatorade that somebody had put a couple droppers of bloods in here and there. It was just pouring all over the toilet, and I was just like, no, this is my life. I did this.
That's brutal. How are you going to operate now?
One day at a time. One day at a time. I'm going to the meetings. I'm talking to all my guys. I've got my sponsor. His name is Jack Daniel. He checks in on me every day.
Good.
No, I'm just going to lean off. I'm just going to lean off the booze for a little bit. Try and be a human being. I think I've been on a tear. I've been on a tear for a while. Every sport has its season and its off season. You can't have season on all the time, or all your QBs get concussions and they just drop like flies. You can't do it.
You have to pull him from the Canadian League.
Oh, God, worthless. Ugh. Driving this morning was just like, I'm a dying man. I'm going to just be bleeding and filling my stomach with blood, and I'm going to faint on the highway. I'm just going to faint with a stomach full of blood. But that was the whole thing. I took a shit, and I was like digging through my shit, through it with my eyes as it sat in the toilet. And it's just like, based on the cursory Google image searches I did, that looks fine. I'm not going to die. But let's be smart. Let's be smart. It's a strange thing. Body's not often been my enemy, but when it is, it's a demon. It's a ghoul.
Scary thing.
Well, there's people we've known throughout our lives whose bodies have always been an enemy. I remember a girl we worked with very briefly when we were all there who I think had Crohn's with the colostomies and all that.
God.
It'd be
What
like,
if you had matching colostomy bags? Did you get it like bedazzled?
can you like have a shared one for long road trips? So you plug both your tubes into the same bag so you can dump it
Is
easier?
that more intimate than kissing?
Our juices match. Our juices are a match.
God.
You know, they do those fecal transplants now, so when like all your intestine garbage dies.
Did you just ask me if I'm into that now?
No, I said you know they exist.
No.
They do poop transplants. So people whose like bacteria die, they'll take like a healthy piece of poop and they'll stick it in someone else's intestines, and it'll regrow the proper bacteria, and then you'll shit someone else's shit. I think that's the best part, when you shit a shit that's not your own.
That's not the best part at all.
It's so intimate. It's so intimate.
I don't, I'm sorry. I just have nothing for this.
No,
These
I
are
know.
Not, these are
I
not,
landed a UFO in your backyard and
I
started
have
asking
nothing.
for spare
It's
parts.
Just my life is not. That's not part of my life at all. Thinking about that stuff. So it's like, wow. I have to think about poop transplants and like what that means to me.
Dude, I'm digging. Not. This is a brusque segue, but dude, I'm digging the mothership up here. We were talking about it like crazy. The space cave up here, and you got everything arranged. You got the super tools everywhere. Everything's artfully arranged. You literally just like fired up the machine, slapped some buttons, and it's just like, oh yeah, everything's pre-programmed. It's all good to go. Here you go. For the talk, you were talking about like soldering and stuff. Have you been doing that?
Yeah, I have some stuff over there.
Oh,
like
shit, you got the iron and everything.
Yeah, it's just I want to make a pickup so that I can record acoustic instruments.
Dude, seeing those now, the contact mics, that band Lightning Bolt, the guy, the drummer who sings, has his masks and he has a contact mic right on his lips.
One guy I saw, he had it on his neck, like throat.
Yeah, the like
cancer,
ventilators.
It sounded like it was coming from inside his head. What I want to do, they're only like $1, so I want to make like 15 of them. I want them all
over.
like Hellraiser, just all
You
over
have
my
to
head.
shave your head and all the hair so they can stick all around. Can you build a complimentary cult to go with your thing?
Absolutely.
With the songs, I'll have like a good. You can use the detections to find the true voice, to find their true sins, and have like the true Scientology, so you can read the true truth.
Exactly.
Oh, update the e-meter. Oh, perfect.
I honestly have more fun doing experiments with music than I do actually writing music.
More than
writing music has all these things attached to it, like that it's going to be critiqued or that it's going to be just given to other
I've been
people.
burping over here, and like I'm starting to sweat because I'm just like, oh my god. But I'm like, as that thing I was saying about the blood stuff before, I kind of like dull sort of like thing, but I also ate a lot, so I'm like, am I hungry or am I internally bleeding? Oh shit, I burped. Is that because I'm digesting food or because my body's slowly filling up with blood and this is the gas escaping? I'm just talking myself into a panic attack, essentially. Just like every single bit of ease you have, let's take them away, self. Let's take them away and replace it with paranoia rampant and every problem that could medically be going on, real or imaginary.
If only there were a job where you could predict the bad things that were going to happen to you in many alternate realities. That's truly
the
your
job
talent
for me.
that you could be good at.
I'd be a wonderkind. I can figure out. Oh my god, so many bad things could happen. Like
is that a real job? There are
actuaries.
Actuaries. Right?
Yeah, if only I was a math genius. Because the problem is,
it's all probability.
Yeah, it's all numbers and probability. Where that's like an actuary is actually that's like math. I'm like a actuary philosopher, where I'm just more like I have no proof, but I've thought about it a lot, and this could make sense.
I'm like a mystery writer that doesn't have a job, so I have a lot of time to think about.
I've never seen a police officer, but I just got a feeling the cops would hold the gun like this.
I hate those characters in shows that solve mysteries or solve murders.
Well, we were talking about like bad writing, like how to like bad write a smart person, where it's just like
awful. It's always some arbitrary thing that, of course, why would anybody, unless they were a genius, store that seemingly innocent information?
There's no applicable logic.
It's just magic.
Well, what was the scene as like a counterexample? Were you telling me about that scene? Was it Breaking?
No Country for Old Men. The walking.
Yeah, that scene.
Death
Sorry,
character.
Oh, God,
I forget his
so
name.
Twisted.
He won things. He's probably got
every
a lot
time
of fans. Javier Bardem, that guy.
I have, for some reason, the wiring in my brain is just mismatched. Because when I went to go see There Will Be Blood, I thought it was titled No Country for Old Men, and vice versa at the other one. So I have I know both movies,
I think a lot
but
of people
the titles
have that
flipped.
same problem.
Just flip. Or maybe we've just talked about it so many times that I've rented it over and
They're
over.
the
and I've
same
just
to me. It's because they came out the same
time.
time.
It was the same year, I think.
When I was a kid, I thought Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray were the same person, and it blew my mind that anyone could tell them apart.
Different haircuts.
I kept asking my parents, I was like, they don't look all alike? What do you mean?
What's that disease where you can't tell people apart from their facial features? There's a little disease where you miss some part of your brain where you can't map identity onto facial structure. It's everybody looks unrecognizable. You have inability to recognize any attributes of the face, so everyone's a stranger and you have to only tell through voice and stuff like that. It's fucked up. People will be like, who are you?
Ghost
wake up in the morning,
people.
who's in my bed?
Does it only apply to faces, or is it
I guess
to
it's face. I guess
their bedroom or other things?
I think it's facially based.
Just a facial recognition.
But what if that's just the version we've been able to detect? What if there's so many other versions of that? Of just every car looks the same to me. Every movie looks the same to me. Every sound looks the same to me.
Every day is exactly the same.
Did the computer go off or?
Oh, we're still going.
Oh, word.
It was just the monitor.
Oh, I was just like,
oh, Lady Bird, you spilled propane on the computer.
Bobby, you goddamn son of a...
Bobby, get your goddamn Game Boy out and play Bird.
I feel like a trumpet that's being blown by an asthmatic today, where it's just where it's the horn and the instrument's the same, but the wind just ain't there. I'm sailing on a lake with no wind.
I know.
Just kind of push off from the shore. We're just coasting. We'll get to the other shore
You
eventually.
were so full of vim and vigor.
I know. I was so full of rage, anger, or
like,
of like
we're gonna go out.
it's gonna be
have
great.
beers,
Everything's
I'm
gonna be
come
great.
by. I'm gonna have 10 feet
Oh,
tall
I'm such
shoes,
a I'm like a
platform.
spayed cat being spiteful, just sitting on the bed, lying in the sun, waiting to die, just waiting to die.
I know.
What does he even do now? He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. What does he do? He just sits there.
How is New York? Tell me about it.
I mean, I'm starting to get a little more acclimated. I mean, like we were talking a lot about the show and all that. I kind of got to reconnect to comedy. I wrote one joke this week.
Why do you have to reconnect to comedy? Do you want it at all?
I want it, but I mean, it's something I loved doing when we did it, but now the terms of it all has changed so much that it's a completely different beast.
Because you're on your own.
It's all on my own. It's just not. We're even suffering before was fun because we were all suffering together, and what are you going to do?
Right.
It's just like, stuff to look forward to. And I'm missing the
It was just a way
positives
to
of
hang
that.
out.
Doing something proactive at the same time
Right.
and like making some sort of progress in the world. It's an identity. It's like, hey, we're trying to be a comic. That's what we're working on
Now that
now.
you're alone,
It's like, here we are, self,
you're a
shifting the
comic.
hands, trying to be a comic. Here we are. And I mean,
you have to reconnect with what calls you up there.
there's so many fundamental problems at it that I got to work on the act, and I just got to fix. I just got to fix some of the
So
stuff
do
that I
you
was
think you're
doing
going to
wrong.
learn something from going on?
I mean, part of it too is to get out of my own way, where it's just like I've gotten in my own way to the point where even my own joke writing thinking has gotten to garbage. It's like I started better than I've ended at this point. Like the start was better than the end. Not material-wise. Some of those first jokes were garbage, but some of them are better than anything
Yeah.
I've done in a long time just because I've gotten so in my own way and like overthinking shit and just not being able to access what was funny in the first place. I like comedy. I like doing comedy. I'd love to have comedy on the side. I like what comedy is. I really like it a lot. And because I know that's what I like most about hanging with my friends and busting balls and just like making laughs, making goofs, jerking around with everybody and living on that way. I think that at ease and doing that naturally is the fucking finest thing in the world. I mean, I'm sounding like some sort of freak dole can here, pontificating on all this. Just, God damn it, stupid fucking phones.
Who's on the phone with you?
It's Cole texting me being like, I'm at a thing and a thing, but he put me on a group text and I don't want to be on it. Why am I on it?
You could leave it, but then it always announces that you leave it, and you look like a jerk.
Oh, asshole.
Asshole.
Asshole. Or I got excluded, and there are other secret, top secret.
How's your social clout up there in New York?
Zippo?
You have clout.
I think
You're everybody's favorite clown.
I'm like a strange.
You're like a weird monkey that plays the cymbals.
I feel like I'm the strange monkey that plays the cymbals that came back from Vietnam and like
yeah, you're definitely storied.
but that came back and they knew me before Vietnam and I've come back after Vietnam and they're kind of like,
You've
hey,
seen
remember
some
that
things.
thing? And it's like, I haven't heard that name in 100 years. It's like, oh, I used to act like that. I developed this draw too.
party I don't remember.
I don't recall those events. Oh, I didn't have a draw when I left? Well, you see, the facial reconstructive surgery caused this new pronunciation to my voice.
Wow, terrible demons.
I got a little bit of the 1,000-yard stare sometimes.
Is it just experience with people, or is it just time, or is it? Do you think your fruit just blooms this way?
I think some of it's just like the impossible blooming of the fruit.
I heard a really great Facebook phrase the other day that
Oh,
was
Jesus.
like, "Hell is where who you are meets who you could have been."
Oh my God.
What other guys could I be?
What other guys?
Like,
We could be
I just made the
doctors
argument,
solving malaria.
I feel like I've grown into a strange man. There was definitely more successful iterations of a younger me. It's like I did not anticipate these desperate Hail Marys.
I think more of past self that ran on a lot fresher youthful vigor that could make up for the reality of my hardwire motherboard programming, organic sleeve drive. Talking madness.
What's wrong?
I don't know. I feel like we're at a weird tipping point age where it's like the vigor of youth is like in diminish, but like the amassed things kind of build. And we're like at this weird balance point that this is only going to go down. And it's just kind of like I'm at a weird bowing of like the youth is diminishing and I'm here. It's not a quite even balance here. Oh shit.
Just keep tipping.
Got to
tipping
keep
down.
pushing it up. I don't know. I mean, is it
I mean, is this where you expected your life to be at 29?
Oh dear Lord, no.
Absolutely, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I also apply to the whole if there's a class, a person I like the Bob Dylan or David Bowie route, where you kind of like reinvent, burn the firewood, and then rebuild a new barn over and over again.
Remake the man.
So it's just kind of like, what is this? This is probably like AOL 0.70 at this point.
Iteration of Chris.
This is 7.0.
This is Chris
There's
XP.
been many versions through, and every single one has only like, well, it's the same hair. Yeah, we kept the hair. That's what we kept. We kept the hair.
We kept the hair and the hatred.
And the same skeletal structure.
But we lost a lot of the vigor and the
we
fun.
Lost some of the vigor. Now
the smile is not as deep.
There's some naivety in one version, I think, at one point.
There's definitely a sadness in the eye.
There's some cynicism, a crippling cynicism. I don't know. Not necessarily. I definitely think there's ways I'm more naive now than I was in the past. I miss being so innocent. I miss pure, innocent Chris. Just be like, oh, I have $5 in my pocket. This person's homeless. They need it more than I do. And now it's like the loss of that innocence. And they're like, no, that's just a rube. Fucking Mark walking down the street. We start acting on experience after a while. We start to generalize in a way where it's like, well, that instance of that person is now true for everybody. It's like Sweet Millie, like tender friend, was a woman on hard times. I think she did have some mental disability, but she'd sell necklaces and bracelets.
Little bead bracelets that
for
she
like
had
$1.
made.
But then finding out that like she had like some crackhead boyfriend that was taking all the money at the end of the day. So it's like, am I even helping you by buying these things? I was always a yes to everything. It was like, yes, you need it, take it, yes. I was like operating purely on
but
that
it
yes.
got you into some, like a guy needed your belt and you gave your belt away.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then you don't have a belt.
Yeah, and I needed the belt. It was
and
a good
nobody
belt.
would do that.
I'd love that belt.
I remember even thinking like, what are you doing giving your belt away?
No, I still wish I had that fucking belt. All these belts I get these days, they fall apart like crazy. Hard to find a good goddamn belt. And that was a
It
good
is
one.
hard to find a belt.
Chintzy.
Shitty belts can look like good
they fall-
belts,
ugh.
but they don't act like good belts.
No, and it's impossible. I even bought like multiple belts and they all fell apart. God damn.
I know, the belt I'm wearing right now fell apart.
This one's like cobbled together with super glue, just like my shoes. Everything's fucking
Screws.
super glued. The middle ground, but it's also like finding the right middle ground. Oh my God, there's nothing I find more condescending. Middle class people are just like, I'm gonna help in a way that actually helps. I can't give you any money, but I'll buy you a sandwich. Come with me to the sandwich store, dude.
I'm gonna be your nanny.
That's that
and make
whole
sure
like
you get
libertarian
something
business
appropriate.
model, young Republican mindset, where it's just like, if I'm going to invest in you, homeless person, if it's even going to be an act of charity, I need to know how you're going to spend my money. How are you going to spend the money
Because
I'm
if
going to
you're
give
going
you?
to spend it on something
that
uncouth,
I don't approve of.
I will
Vices.
not enable
Your
you.
dirty,
I am
dirty
not an
vices.
enabler.
I just can't abide
Sick
it.
trash people. of
They
the
don't
gutter.
know like I do. I would never be homeless because I knew better.
But everyone deserves to eat. So here's a sandwich person that I don't trust and
it's this
don't think very highly of.
It's this condescending moralizing that is just obnoxious. I don't know. I think there's a certain way you can't escape from a certain amount of morality. You got to have a certain amount of morality. But moralizing is the garbage. Moralizing is garbage. I think of like morality more of like how you conduct yourself. I think more moralizing more of like applying that and judging others based on it, whether they are aware, whether it's spending the money not in the way you approve, whether it's like I wouldn't do it that way, or like I think that's corrupt, or I don't approve of your sex life. I don't.
Yeah.
It's like that's not the way. That's right. I know what's right because I know. It's just that self-assuredness. I hate the whole pit though. I don't like that whole pit of like everybody's right. It's a hard fucking needle thread to get the point through, where it's like what we're trying to do is like have both, where the structure and the like dependability of just like, yeah, there's a certain right and there's a certain wrong, but also it's just the self-satisfaction of somebody who's convinced they're right is disgusting to me. The self-assuredness of somebody grandstanding over their rightness, where it's like what they're trumpeting is the fact that I'm right. I think I worry about it more in thought and in conversation than I've ever experienced blunt conflict moralization stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I read this the other day. There's like a name for this like little thought experiment thing where it's like, imagine there's like a train and there's like 10 people
Right,
tied
you
up.
can kill one to save
Save
10,
10.
or you can allow 10 to die.
But, I mean-
we're not presented any bloodless solution.
I guess there's something, and I mean, I don't have anything new to add on that subject,
I
period.
would kill one to save 10. Odds are better that there's a good person amongst 10 than
10.
there's a good person amongst one, because generally one person's not good.
I mean-
any given one person, I probably won't like him.
In practicality,
but out of 10, there's probably one
I'd
person I
probably
like.
do that. But and I mean, I also don't feel the hook of the guilt. I don't feel like I'd feel guilt for it. It'd just be like, yeah, it's a conundrum. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going to do?
So,
I guess
but otherwise,
the part about it that makes me uncomfortable, though, is the whole like utilitarianism of it, where it's just like, well, clearly 10 people living is better
more
than one.
So
we go with that.
the pragmatic choice.
And in that one, it's extreme because it's lives. But I hate when that shit gets like out of control and it just becomes like math world, where it's just like, what's the greater good? Add up greater good.
We
Output
killed 10 million
equals.
to save a billion
I know.
lives. Let them die.
Yeah, it's just become so mathematically like numbers. Input equals output equals law. Just choice. It is grand. Statistic world and all that makes me uncomfortable. Getting into like population statistics, where it's like, well, this percent of this do this, and they do this in that way, so we should do this based on these statistics. I think it's the only real tool we got to like figure out how people respond to shit. But I think people are always changing how we do it. So I hate it. I hate all this gridlock shit. Well, we did a test. Now we're going to do it this way forever. That's just the way it is. We did a test. We're going to do it this way forever. It's just the milliseconds to it all, the decimals, the fucking percentages, the carrying. It's just exhausting. And it makes for wonderful conversation. Just say I'm exhausted by it.
No, I get it. I mean,
I know. Well, it's algorithmic, which is almost worse, where it's just like this program just runs. It goes out there and it scrubs the internet of bad things, or like the bad pictures we don't want. It goes around and takes them all off. The news story that can't exist. It's just the unseeing hand of computer god.
I'm trying to bridge it in the sense of like, you don't want the mathematical world. What would make you at the end fulfilled?
The language of crabs. I'm speaking in the bay of crabs.
The crabs are reeling right now.
Speaking
Your
the
response,
language of crabs.
The crabs are scuttling in agreement.
I think if what I want out of life is earned agency, where I think there's like a certain amount of... Sorry, I had to hawk a loogie, and it was warm, and I was so terrified I was going to hawk it up, and it's going to be covered in blood because I had a beer after talking about vomiting.
I see that you're putting your loogie in your pocket there. That's a good place for it. No one will be able to take it from you.
I didn't want to eat my loogie. I was going to wash these pants tonight.
I guess it's better than putting it on any of my things.
That's the whole thing I do want to avoid.
Very courteous action.
See?
What seemed rude at first was truly quite courteous.
Through act. I had to check it, so I had to like put it on my hand.
I understand.
All right, it does make sense.
Your organs are in a state of melting.
I'm dying.
You're dying.
And my neck is so sore.
You can't drink that much.
I know. A hard time saying no, and it was like that punk rock mentality too of just like, but I don't know. I think that's the dangerous balancing point, talking about a person's ability to be alone in a room and how that's like an indicator for like how a person is. Like, it's like, can you be comfortable in a room alone? And I'm so incapable of being comfortable in a room alone, especially because I work from home. So I'm like in the same room. It's just like, I've been in this room for 8 hours. Close work computer, turn on internet time computer. I don't know. Maybe it's just like a shift, or it's just like if I change the circumstances, I can change the mindset. I don't know. I think there's like a ADD angle to some of it. Dude, I'm like a fucking border collie or something like that. I need some amount of like physical exertion, or else I'm just like
Just like get pent up.
Like coming back from the old farm days are great because it's just like
You were exerted
material
through
things
work,
were accomplished,
and now
so much was done. Now I can turn my time in peace and just like, what did you do today? The pile of fucking tomatoes. This field was done today. We did that today. It's like, what happened at the end of the day? The queue was empty. I finished my shift. That's what happened today.
Right.
I maintained empty.
Dispassionate work, dispassionate task.
Disengaged.
What do you feel like is the answer to that? How do you feel about your job? I remember for a long time you talking about how you didn't want it anymore.
In the same way of the fear of decorating a room makes me feel like entrenched. So I just live in barren Spartan chambers for most of the time because I'm like afraid. I guess in that same way I kind of fear getting a job in New York because it's like an admission of like locking down for a period of time, whatever it is. It's like an admission of like, I am here, I guess.
Well, because it's going to make it that much harder to then
change. I mean, like the first thought that came to me is like, if I get a job in New York, what the fuck am I going to do with my car? I'm already like running around the streets during daylight trying to have World War III with the old Polish people that are retired and living on my block just to get a parking spot. You have to like change with alternate side parking during the day. It's like, if I had a car, I'm not going to drive the car to fucking work. I'm going to have to sell the fucking car. Then I'm here. Then I'm just here. I have no car. I have no means. What am I doing? Riding the bus to go home? Oh my God. What am I doing?
Well, what do you think about that reality?
Well, I can't even afford to sell the car at this point because I owe more than it's worth. So what are you going to do?
No, I mean, being there is as a hypothetical. Yes, I can settle here and...
It's a place. I mean, it's an exciting place. There's a lot of things there. There's a lot of opportunities there. I feel like I've bumped into to the concept of opportunities more than ever, but I've still not grabbed onto any of them, So it's like the same thing where it's like there are so
Why do
many
you think that
opportunities
is?
here.
Do you not know which one to grab?
Some of that. Also, some of just like an overwhelming of just kind of like how many changes do I want to take at the moment and how many I probably should do more embracing of it, than coddling. I'm pretty good at coddling myself during these transition periods. I'm just like, we're just transitioning.
I will say one of my most depressing memories is when I toured around in the South as an actor in a children's theater troupe, and I went to all these cities, and I didn't really visit much. I just kind of stayed in my hotel, and I didn't see much. And you're in New York,
and I'm not
you're
seeing
surrounded
too much.
by all these opportunities. And you might not be in New York next year, and you might not be in New York 2 years from now.
Or again.
And you might look back and think, man, I could have got more out of it.
Yeah.
So I
There's
guess
been a lot-
I guess all that spiel is just a way
Do
to
more,
say, it's just
yeah.
a suggestion that's like, grab it just because it's there.
I
and
do
it
wish
can.
we did a lot more in Boston. Like we went around. I feel like most of the Boston I saw was through open mics. Like that
It was Quincy
mostly.
mostly.
Yeah.
I
And
barely even went into Boston.
I mean, yeah, proper. I think was probably like less than maybe 10 times total. Like everything accounted for. Like driving to like the Green
But
Dragon
to be
or some
fair,
places.
a lot of that is, and this is boo on Boston. Why is everything shut down at 12 o'clock
For
at
real.
night? I never wanted to go in because it was like, man, if we go in now at 8:30, take the train, we'll be there at 9, then we got to hop back on at 11:30.
We like to kind of like take things slow. So like we'll hang out for like 5-6 hours and like talk and do things. And like if we sit down, we're gonna have a beer. It's gonna be like at least 2 or 3 hours as we're sitting and
Right.
talking. It's not like, all right, we're done. Get on the train. Let's go back. It's not that fast.
Yeah, the whole point of going out is to
Be out. Maybe bump into people. Who knows? But
whatever it is. We never really got to do that because it's like nothing's open. We're back at 12:30 and everything's closed. I'm just not used to that.
So
I'm
it's
used
like
to
just
2
stay in
o'clock
Quincy
the
and
morning,
yeah.
And even then that usually it's 1:30 and even that being like, man, other places open till 4. That sucks.
Well, I mean, we were also night owls anyway. So like sometimes we'd start
Yeah.
hanging out at like 10 or like
Some nights
9 or like
I wouldn't get home till 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
So that was good when you came to New York and we got to like be out until we were done.
Church people, horrible pilgrims.
That Puritan.
Come on, Boston. You're supposed to be tough Irishmen. You're going to bed at
There
12
were two.
o'clock.
That was the only answer we came to.
That was the
essentially, it was
answer.
just
It
like
was-
they couldn't
If
handle
they
it.
allowed people out till 2 in the morning, faces would line the streets.
They just kill
Bloody
themselves
Pope,
everywhere.
curb people stomping
Dead,
all.
drunk driving, crashed
Just
everywhere.
the maniacs
Ugh.
fueled by an extra 2 hours of
Oh,
alcohol.
the only explanation. The only
It's
explanation.
like, Boston will be burning.
Cost
Boston
a-
will burn by morning.
$20 billion to staff enough police just to keep them in check.
I don't know. Cop out.
I
Cop
know.
out.
It's just
That, like, the
ancient
train,
garbage
like,
laws.
getting there and be like, yeah, the train says it runs till 12:30, but only in like the peak summer. Usually it runs to like
Can't get the money
11.
to fund a full 24-hour subway.
Oh my god, it's Boston. It's like top 10. It's American cities.
It's supposed to be.
Exactly. It's supposed to be. I was very disappointed by it. I thought it was school marm town,
It definitely.
but it was scary sometimes. Quincy, I think more.
Yeah.
Than just the heroin problem. I can't be more suburban, but
The
damn
number
it,
of-
just creeps me
Well,
out.
just dudes nodding out everywhere.
Just
come out
goggling
just-
out with their. I was like, no
Heroin
one with a-
addicts all
no
have
one with a
backpack. Yep. Every heroin addict has a backpack, and it's like everything they own in the world's in it, and they're just like that half like knee bent of just like semi squatting, but like leaning forward as like hands just like clench as they're just like. I just
and
remember
the
being
voice.
at the train station there for the Red Line, and on one side it was like a family with like their kids, and they're just like sitting there like, oh, we're going to the Boston. And then on the other side of it was like 4 dudes just like nodding off into oblivion in like a little circle, just barely able to keep up. It's like this. It's the slow, like it's like an insect like out of the cocoon drying off its wings. It's like a slow like lean, gonna fall back.
Just the survival
lean,
shuffle.
Gonna fall back. Oh, these vibrations. I guess I get. God,
This is all spiraling a million feet away from the question I initially asked. What do you want out of your life?
oh
out of
Jesus.
I feel like you're not gonna have some appropriate answer, but I don't know. I think you're never gonna have the right answer.
No,
but
I
you can at
agree.
least try and hone in on what the answer right now is.
I
And Yeah,
agree.
you might look back and think that was not at all.
That
what it
was a
ended up being
passing-
about.
yeah, it was
that
a
was
passing
I was
thing.
so wrong.
I guess the things I want are just like disparate. They're just kind of like unconnected. So I try to like tie everything together.
I feel like I'll have to have created something that I can stand
is
by.
what it
Just
added.
something I can stand behind. And it might not even be like that I made a thing. It was that I found a real passion in some mastery of something that you can look and say I spent my time and harnessed some talent that I took notice and developed just some mastery and some proof of it.
The conversation's definitely like making me think. I think the problem is I haven't been engaging with the question. I think there's definitely been times in my life where I have engaged it and I have had answers. But I think right now, I think that's probably been a problem for a couple of years now, is just the lack, where it's been more of like, well, I do like writing and I do like doing these things. I do like making them, but I just do them. I don't know why. I'm not sure what it's adding up to. I don't know what I would like it to add up to. And it's probably been reflected in the stuff I've done.
What you make.
Yeah.
Because you got to ask yourself, why that? Why is that so important to me?
I mean,
it's that whole Bob Dylan thing.
Yeah.
That you believe in yourself. And that's the most fragile thing in the world. It's so easy for people to take that and destroy that. And the only one that can cradle and develop it is yourself.
Yeah.
So a way to prove that you believe in yourself is by acting
accordingly.
And following through on whatever it is you believe you can do. That's why it's so important to me.
Comedy's weird for me, especially because I feel like there's a time where both of us could have been killing it and diving it in, and if we had been doing it then, by now we'd have the solutions we needed. But things have evolved, our desires evolved, and just developing taste and just like seeing what our options are, like playing more with music, playing more with film, I think changed things so that when we got to comedy, it was kind of like, oh, this is a great thing to start too late, almost, where it's just kind of like, oh, this would have been a great thing for a young man to do, but I'm not going to be a young man again, so is it worth being a young man's for this thing's sake? Or what's the ingress here? It's the need has changed, and now what you need is different from that. And I could see a time like when you're starting acting and all that they'd be conducive, maybe. Or I can think of times where I could have accessed things that I found funny much more naturally than I can now. I feel like now is a very heady time, like a time very much in the head, and I can't think of anything worse for comedy or any of that than being so headbound. I feel like it's just like restricting things and not getting across. It's just being in one's own way. So it's comedy's a bitch. I don't know what to do with her. Just like, all right, we love joking around and make people laugh. What are we gonna do? Like every time we're joking around with our friends and we make them laugh, be like, oh, that's a good one. Write that one. What are we up to on the old ding donger?
5.
That's a good time.
If you want to call it.
Yeah, let's call it.